rise over run. Yesterday's graphing, right? Rise over run. Rise is the change where? What does the rise describe on the graph?
Vertical.
The vertical, right? Which is what variable?
Y.
The y-axis. Rise is vertical. Run is horizontal, which is the x. So what we're going to have today is we will have two ordered pairs. So instead of having a picture, right, a graph that already has the points and all we had to do was count, we're going to be given an ordered pair like 3, 4, and -1, -6. So you could, for these types of problems, say, you know what, Mrs. Long, I really love drawing a graph, then plotting the points, then connecting them to make a dot, and then counting. That's how I want to do it. I mean, it works, right? But that sounds like a lot. To draw a graph for every single one, to plot the points, to connect them, then to count. Because what if your graph wasn't the best drawn graph, and when you're counting, you've missed something, right? So instead, we have a formula. Right? We talked about how slope yesterday was rise over run. And you just told me that rise over run was vertical over horizontal, right? And then you told me that it's y over x, but it's more than just y over x. It's the y change or difference over the x change or difference. Oops, D-I-F-F. How did I spell that? E-R-E-N-C-E. Whoops. It's the y difference, the difference in the y over the difference or the change in x, right? If I start on my y-axis, if I start at 0 and I go up to 5, that difference is 5 units. If I start at -1 and I go up 4 spaces, right? That's the difference between those two dots. So there's a formula we use. Is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Because difference, the word difference, means subtract. So I'm going to subtract my y's and subtract my x's. Subtract my y's and subtract my x's. And I'm going to color code this because it can be a little sloppy looking the first time we do it. So y2 means the y from the second ordered pair. Well, guys, this is my first ordered pair. And this is my second ordered pair. Do you know why this one's the first ordered pair? Because it's written first. Do you know why this one's the second ordered pair? Because it's written second. So my y2 is my y from my second ordered pair. And my y1 is my y from my first ordered pair. It's the change in y's. It's the difference from y to y. And my x2 is my x from the second ordered pair. And my x1 is my x from the first. It's the y minus the y. And we subtract because I'm finding the difference between them, right? I'm finding the difference in my y, which is my rise. The y value is the rise, correct? And if one dot is down here and one dot is up here, I want to find the difference between their heights. So I'm going to subtract my y's. Right? If I have one dot down here and the other dot is here, well, the difference in their height is the y, is our rise. If I have one dot here and one dot here, and I want to find the difference in their run, I'm going to subtract the x's, because the x is my run, the y is my rise. So it's rise over run. So if I was going to find the slope of these 2 points, I can do y2, which was -6, minus y1, which was 4, over x2, which is -1, minus x1, which is 3. And I get -6 minus 4 is -10 over -1 minus 3 is -4. 2 negatives make a positive. And 10 over 4 simplifies to 5 over 2. Looking at this, 5 over 2, it's a positive slope. Can you imagine which way it's going to go? And is it going to be steep, a hard hill to climb, or not steep?
It's gonna be steep.
So let's test it. Let's just double check that we're right. You're not going to have to do this for every problem, but let's test it out. Yes?
So why did we make them positive again?
Because there were 2 negatives. Our numerator was negative and our denominator was negative, so 2 negatives create a positive.
Okay.
So let's plot. I get it. We have to make it kind of pretty. We're going to plot these 2 points. So draw a graph. Let's just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm making my graph go to 6 because that's the largest absolute value I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My first ordered pair is 3, 4. And my second ordered pair is -1, -6. And let's check the slope, right? So I have my graph, right? Like, I mean, it's totally doable to draw a graph and then count your slope. It's faster to just subtract your y values and subtract your x values. And if I count, that means I go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So my rise was 10. And my run, that was supposed to be at 1. is 1, 2, 3, 4. My rise was 10 and my run was 4. So my rise over run was 10 over 4, which simplifies to 5 over 2. Because if you look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. If I do my slope 5 over 2 twice, I get to both points. All right, you should have a yellow piece of paper for practice. Work through those. This is gonna go on page 39. Work through those. We'll talk about them in a minute. Work through these. We'll talk about them in a minute.